The Nun, which will feature Valak as the main antagonist, will take place in 1952, putting it at the start of our timeline, prior to all the confirmed events that happen in the Conjuring universe thus far. That being said, Annabelle creation is not the first place we learn about the demon Valak. Valak, of which, is actually featured as one of the antagonists of The Conjuring 2. That being the perfect segue, let's hop over to The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2 was the much-awaited sequel to the hugely successful The Conjuring. The film takes place in 1976, and like the first film, the majority of the movie takes place 1 year after, in this case, 1977, 6 years after the events of the first film, and a lot actually goes down in this movie. The movie actually starts with one of the biggest cases the Warrens had to investigate, the Amityville Horror. The demonologists investigate the Amityville house to determine if a demon was actually responsible for Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdering his entire family. They are also there to help the current family, the Lutz, to see if the same demonic entity is haunting them. They gather around in a circle to start a seance, and Lorraine uses astral projection to relive the murders. As she does, she is lured to the basement where she finds a demonic nun-like figure. It attacks her, but before the vision ends, she witnesses Ed being impaled by a large wooden stake. Moving forward, in 1977, the Hodgson family begins to experience some paranormal activity in their home in Enfield, London. Just for your information, this is Peggy, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy. These two, Janet and Peggy, being the most relevant. Janet is seen sleepwalking and talking to an angry old man who insists that the house belongs to him. After some spooky stuff happens, the family is forced to evacuate over to their neighbor's house to seek refuge. It's there we get our first encounter with a particularly interesting entity, the Crooked Man. The next day, the media attempts to interview the eldest sisters of the Hodgson family, only to indirectly get into contact with the spirit of the elderly man, Bill Wilkins. We learn here that he previously lived in the house and died there too. As Janet begins to show more signs of demonic possession, the story makes its way across the seas, where the Warrens were requested to assist the church with an investigation to determine if Janet is actually possessed or if it is just a hoax. Lorraine is understandably afraid because of her vision, and she warns Ed not to get involved with the case. However, after some convincing, Lorraine hesitantly agrees to go to London with him. Before we go any further, I should inform you, Lorraine actually has yet another vision of the demonic nun while in Ed's study. After she follows it down to the basement, she demands the demon reveal who it is. It gives a big wail, and Lorraine starts to scribble profusely on her Bible. Cut to the Warrens arriving at the Hodgson residence. The Warrens consult with other paranormal investigators on their opinion about the case. Later that night, the Warrens try to communicate with the spirit of Bill Wilkins and try to convince it to stop haunting the family. Skipping through a bit of the movie, one night, after witnessing the possessed Janet, one of the paranormal investigators, Anita Gregory, gives the Warrens video evidence showing Janet wrecking the kitchen as if it were a hoax, hence discrediting the actual haunting. Given the evidence, the Warrens decide it is in their best interest to leave the family alone, but would soon realize that the family may actually be in terrible danger. We learn through a vision, and a line Janet gives, that Wilkins is only a pawn who is being manipulated by the demon nun in Lorraine's visions. Lorraine soon discovers that this demon is apparently so powerful that the reason she couldn't feel anything in the house was because her abilities were being blocked by this malevolent force. They rush back to the Hodgson's home, where they find a possessed Janet and the rest of the family locked outside. Ed goes inside the house alone, and Lorraine witnesses a lightning bolt hit a tree outside the house, making it look like the large wooden stake from her visions. Ed manages to make his way upstairs, where he is attacked by the Crooked Man. He is able to escape with his life intact, and manages to find Janet near a window, ready to jump out and land on the wooden stake. He manages to catch her before she falls, but he is holding onto some curtains that start to collapse ring by ring under his and Janet's weight. Meanwhile, Lorraine is trying to find a way to stop the demon, and she comes to the conclusion that she has to find out what the demon's name is in order to gain power over it. She then remembers she wrote the name of the demon in her Bible, V-A-L-A-K. Lo and behold, the demon's name is Valak. Also, in a cool subtle shot, the director of the film actually told you the demon's name at the start of the movie, if you were paying attention. She enters the room, and it is there she confronts Valak. She addresses it by name and condemns the demon back to hell, setting Janet free of its possession, and Lorraine manages to pull Ed back to safety. The family, from that point, gets to live happily ever after, and the Warrens go on to live their normal lives. Or as normal as you can get, being a married couple of demonologists. Alright, so the last two films in the Conjuring timeline are the confirmed sequel to The Conjuring, The Conjuring 3, and the confirmed spin-off, The Crooked Man. As for The Conjuring 3, we still don't know much about it, other than it will take place in the 80s, and follow one of the Warrens' cases at the time. The writers actually have a lot of cases to pull from, so I'm pretty sure they have plenty to work with, at least for the time. This also places The Conjuring 3 the furthest in the timeline. As for The Crooked Man, not much is even known about the film. Apparently, a script hasn't even been written. However, it is scheduled to release in 2020, and James Wan has confirmed that the movie will take place before The Conjuring, but after Annabelle, so we'll place it in between those two films. And with that, this completes the Conjuring Universe Timeline. So, just to simplify everything, the order you should watch the movies, if you want to watch them chronologically, is The Nun, Annabelle Creation, Annabelle, The Crooked Man, The Conjuring 2, and last, but certainly not least, The Conjuring 3. Well, that's the end of it. The Conjuring universe, as I have stated so many times before, is one of my favorites. It is not many times we actually get a connected horror universe to the scale of The Conjuring. Moreover, it is rare that we get a universe where all the movies are enjoyable to watch. All I really have to say is that I love this franchise, and will always continue to support it. I really enjoyed making this video, and I really hope you liked it too. Feel free to comment whatever your favorite film in the franchise is, or comment whatever you'd like. I will probably read them all anyway. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't already for more content like this. It'd be much appreciated. Well, with that out of the way, let me leave you with this little factoid. Did you know, the lipstick demon from Insidious was played by Joseph Bishara, who also played the demon from the first Conjuring film.